Welcome to C Programming Tutorials. This is a production of YouTube channel Learn Rama and the Facebook page Awesome C Programming Tutorials in High Def. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I would appreciate if you could do so, because this way you will be able to receive all the new tutorials as soon as I post them. And I would also appreciate if you could become the fan of the Facebook page as well. Okay, in today's tutorial we are going to learn about fgets function. It's a function that allows you to read strings from file. We have, however, we have been using all this time fscanf if we have to read any string from the file, but this is one more function to do that. Now, the advantage of using fscanf is basically it's a very versatile function, because it allows you to, you specify the file pointer here, and then it allows you to specify the format specifier, like you could use it to read the strings. You could use it to read the numbers or integers or floating point numbers or whatever format specifier that you use here. You could basically read from the file just like that, and of course including the strings as well. So if you were to read the name, you could just specify name, and you should be able to read the name from the file as well, as a string. The thing about fscanf though is that it's very open-ended, in the sense that when you use fscanf, it actually reads for and we learned before that it reads for as long as it doesn't find a space. If it finds a space, at that point it stops, and then it copies the string into this array that you might have defined. For example, if you define character name of 21, for example, right? So it will basically read those characters, whatever the characters in the string are, whatever it could find, and it will copy it in this memory location where this array has been defined. The problem is that there is no way you can specify how many bytes or how many characters you have to read, which means that if you are here assuming that your string is not going to be more than 20 characters long. One character is to use the end of string character. So your string itself is no more than 20 characters. That's what you are assuming here. But what if somebody has a very long name, or whatever data it is? What if in the file it says something like this without spaces? Now this is way more than 20 characters, and if you'll use this, it is going to read all this from the file. And as soon as it's going to read this and it will copy into name, what's going to happen? Name is only 20 characters long. This is more than 20 characters. So what's going to happen? It's not going to stop after 20 characters. It's going to keep on writing in the memory beyond the 20 characters or 20 bytes that you have allocated. And what's going to happen is that it's going to corrupt the neighboring variables. If you have one more variable here defined, it may override this I variable, or it may destroy this file pointer, or it may destroy some other program's data as well. I mean, you never know what's going to happen if you overflow. So this is the bad thing about fscanf, if you use fscanf to read the strings. So for that we have what we call fgets. And what is the syntax here? The syntax is a little bit different. Usually we have the file pointers in the beginning of all of these functions that we have read about so far. But with fgets, the file pointer is at the end. The first thing that you have to specify is the string where you want your data to go to. So like name, for example. Okay, and then you have to specify how many bytes you want to read. So you specify the number of bytes here. Okay, and then you specify the file pointer at the end. So it takes three parameters here. The first parameter is the string where you want to. So note that this function fgets, it's like all the file functions start with f. So this f is for file. Get s is for string. So it's like get string from file. That's what this function is. So you can only use it to read strings. You cannot use it to read numbers or integers. Okay. Now you can still read numbers from the file. If there are numbers written in the files, you can still read numbers, but those numbers will be read as strings, which means that you cannot just multiply and divide just like that. So you have to have a string variable here, okay? So it will be part of a string here. So it can be used only to read strings. So when you have to read string, you use this function fgets, and you specify the number of bytes here also. Now note that I have specified 21, the whole whatever the number of bytes this array is, which means that this includes the end of line character. Okay, sorry, end of string character. Okay, so end of it, basically what it does is it reads from the file and then it stores it into this array, and the number of bytes that it reads is one less than what you specify here. So you specify 21 here, it will read 20 bytes, and then it will put an end of string character at the end of this string name. Okay, now if the string that it's trying to read from the file is less than 20 characters, okay, if you get the new line, so let's take a look at the file. Let's see if there is a file. Suppose I have this abc.txt file, okay, and this file has this data in it. This is a C programming tutorial. Let's say in its first line it says programming, okay. So this is what we have. Programming, this is a C programming tutorial, and this tutorial, blah 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 blah, all this, okay, in this file. So let's see, let's write the program to read this file. So name of the file is abc.txt. We want to read it in the read mode. If it was successful, which means the pointer is actually pointing to some valid location, not to null. So if pointer is not equal to null, which means it was successful, we basically keep reading the entire file. Okay, we read the whole file until we get the end of file. So for as long as you keep reading while there is no end of file, okay, as long as there is data to read, there is no, it's not the end of file. Which file? This file. And then you basically then we are not going to do fscanf. Then we do, let's not call it name because we don't have names in this file. Let's call it line, okay. And then I specify line here, and let's make this line big, little big, let's say 81 characters, okay. Usually a line is considered to be 80 characters, but you know, you could make it the largest possible that you can think, you think that your file will have. And then you specify the same length here, and then you specify the file pointer. So it's going to read from the file right now, okay, and then it will keep on doing it until the end of file happens. Now the thing that to note here is that how it's going to read, okay. fgets actually reads the strings, but how does it know where to end, where the string ends? It actually uses the new line character. So when the line ends, actually it actually stops there. So it's going to open the file and it's going to start from the beginning, and the first time when you'll call this fgets, what's going to happen? It's going to start reading here. So it's going to read P and put it in the first element of line, then R, put it in the second element of line, and O, put it in the third element of line array here, and so on. And what's going to happen? It's going to read dot, and then it say, it's the new line. At that point, it's going to stop. So it's not going to read exactly this many bytes. It's this many characters. This is only the maximum that it's going to read at a time. Okay, so this is the maximum. This is not always how many bytes it has to read. Okay, this is not exact number of bytes that it's going to read. So it's going to stop if it gets a new line character before it finishes reading this many bytes. So in this particular example, first time when it's going to read the first line here, programming, full stop. So the value of line would be programming, full stop. And then if you want, you could print it out using printf, okay. Like that. Let me stop here because I'm running out of time, and we will continue this lecture in the next video. So don't forget to watch and rate this video as well, and feel free to leave any comments you have, any questions as well. Thank you so much. Bye.